My wife works for me, and it's probably one of the worst decisions that I ever made in my life. Let me explain, okay? As a business owner, I have a freaking ship to run, and I have employees, I have people, and the last thing that I want is for my relationship challenges and the dynamic, the dysfunction that happens in my marriage to spill over into my business. And so why this is one of the worst decisions that I ever made is because I didn't put the right boundaries and expectations in place on how I wanted to work with my wife. And this is an issue that I see in a lot of entrepreneurs. They don't know how to actually set the right boundaries and expectations on what a work relationship looks like. And so what I found is that sometimes if my wife was angry at me, and she was on one of our daily stand-ups, she would be bringing that sort of aggression into the meeting, and then everyone else would just be like, this is a little bit weird. And then also what ended up happening is that I felt like I needed to treat her well as my wife and my woman, when really that context is out the window in a business setting. She is ultimately another worker, and she is someone that's there to create an outcome, and she's someone there to be productive, and she's also there as someone that's supposed to be upholding the actual company values. So when she's late to a meeting, or if she doesn't get something done on time, or if she doesn't actually communicate when she's going to be able to do something, then that's against the company values. And the fact that I wasn't actually calling her out on that was the biggest mistake that I was making. And I was sending a message to everyone else that my wife is actually just my wife. This person is not the actual copywriter in the business. This person is my wife, and they have to treat her as such. And so that created this dynamic as well, where the team wasn't actually going to her and even holding her to a standard that they would be holding each other to. So it was ultimately my fault, and that's why it was a bad decision. But on the flip side, when I was able to fix that, and I'll tell you how, it ended up becoming one of the best things that I ever did in my business. Having my wife beside me, my confidant, my partner, someone that I love so much, it actually made a very high quality employee. And I'll tell you how I did that. The first thing was the exact opposite of what I mentioned. I started to set the right expectations, okay? Firstly, with my wife, I said, look, if we're gonna work together, we gotta be able to separate the relationship and the actual business. I'm gonna be giving you feedback. I'm gonna be sharing things with you in the same way that I would anyone else in this position. And you're not gonna take it as Hamza is coming at me. It's gonna be my manager is giving me some feedback, is helping me grow. And so we need to create a whole new context. And in the beginning, it was very tough because she used to come and still feel upset about certain feedback and feel like she was trying really hard. And hey, why am I being so harsh on her? And she's right. In a context that's outside of business, maybe I would be potentially seen as harsh, or I would be seen as maybe unreasonable, but I had a line to toe, and I had to make sure that production and quality was at the level that I immediately wanted and I expected from anyone that I would have hired in this role. And so I held that frame, I didn't cave in, and I continued to come with the energy of love. Because remember, just as you and I as husbands are a container for our wife, we're also a container for our people, so that they can be chaotic and messy on the inside, but we are able to hold that frame. And as I was able to hold that frame of like, nope, I get it, but this is the job scorecard, this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is the outcome, and this wasn't done, and this is not about me, taking vengeance on you as your husband because I'm angry about some other thing, or there's some other difference between us. This is about the betterment of the business. This is about the future of the business and where we're heading. And as I continue to hold that, she started to get the picture. She started to really step up and realize, okay, cool, I am as part of this company like everyone else, and this isn't just about me getting preferential treatment. And in fact, this actually helped me in my relationship with my wife, because she started respecting the fact that I wasn't just a freaking pushover, right? Because women test. Women will poke and prod and say little comments like, why are you late? Or, you're not working hard enough, or, all these different things that our wives say to us. And the business is a very great way to showcase to our women that we are in fact very trustworthy men of our word, and that we have integrity, and that we want to ultimately make sure that everyone gets treated the same and that everyone gets held to the same standard. So it actually helped my intimacy, it helped my marriage, it helped me get more respect from my woman. And then the other thing that's very, very important is that when there are breakdowns in communication, in performance, etc., that not that you make her an example, but that I actually was able to give her the same treatment that I gave everyone else in front of everyone else. And so there was time when my wife came late to a meeting, and then I pulled up the company values and I did say that, hey, look, we all agreed that we're going to say what you mean and mean what you say. And if you said that you're going to be here at 10 a.m. every single day for the meeting and you're not there, you need to communicate in Slack. And is that clear? And she said, yes, that's clear to me. And initially she was upset about that, but she understood this is for the group collective. And then also encouraging the rest of the team to then give feedback to her, because I found that in our dynamic, the way that we actually run our team, a lot of it is done on our stand-up. We don't really have a lot of one-on-one meetings. And there were times where her work wasn't up to scratch and I was the one who was giving her feedback, and it started setting this precedent where only I can give her feedback. And so what I did is I actually got the other team members to give their feedback to her as well, and that was very, very powerful. And so what it's ultimately done is that it's created more intimacy, more love between my wife and I absolutely do. I'm very happy that she's there, because ultimately I think one of the things that I've struggled with is that my wife doesn't really know what's going on in my business. And oftentimes when she doesn't know what's going on in my business, I feel like there's very little context to my stress or my mood, sometimes being a little bit down, or maybe the lack of time that I have. And so now that she's really deeply involved in some of the functions of the business, not as a business partner, but as someone that is on the team, and even though she's a very part-time member of the team, it's created a ton more empathy for her, where she actually understands, wow, my husband actually does a lot. And it's not just him chilling in the office and just having a good time and chatting away. He's actually putting in work. And so that's a beautiful thing, right? I think for me, in the relationship that I have with my wife, it's in such a way where I am looking for a very deep bond, where I do want to feel in many ways that I am with my wife in her journey and that she's with me on my journey. And so it's been a very incredible thing to have her be a part of the business and to have her be over there by my side, being able to see my ups and downs, because it just creates more closeness between us. And so if you watching this video right now have been hesitant to employ your woman or someone that's very close to you, then I would make sure that, one, you don't just overlook it and discount it because you're afraid of mixing personal and business. That's ultimately up to you, right? Just like it was up to me. It was my choice, my expectation setting that potentially could lead to the downfall of that interaction, that relationship. And if you truly, truly see benefit in your woman and what she brings to the table, then I would just make sure you set the right expectations. And expectation setting can really be as simple as just getting a document open, a position agreement, and saying, hey, this is what you can do, this is what you're not going to do, this is our values, and I'm going to hold you to that, okay? And it's going to be sucky sometimes, it's going to be confronting sometimes, but are you cool with that? And if she says yes, then Godspeed, man, go for it, jump into it. And also set the expectation that this may not work out, and that if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, because it is a very intimate relationship, right, of husband and wife or whoever you have that's close in your life, that this may not continue beyond the next 45 to 90 days, and that should be expectations set up front. The worst thing to do ever is to just hire someone because you're being pushed over and you're being walked over and you're being led to believe that you want to help out and you're just trying to be like this hero, right? What she needs is not a hero. What she needs is a coach, a confidant, a encourager, a challenger that's actually going to help her grow. Okay, especially in the world of career, if that's what she wishes. And so anyways, hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the comment section. Peace.